Hi everyone, this is Matt Curfman from Richmond Brothers with the July edition of Matt's Minutes. Thank you so much for tuning in. And a couple of updates we wanted to brief you on for the month of July. GDP, gross domestic product, came out and it was at an annualized rate of 4.1%. And 4.1% is quite a high number when you look comparing over the last several years. And that gives us a sense of how strong the economy is growing on a forward-moving basis. And so the higher the GDP, the better. I think ideally if there was a gross domestic product annualized rate in the 3% range, that would actually still signal a strong growing economy. And so analysts expect the next couple of quarters to continue that trend and have a higher GDP. And again, that trickles back to the overall economic condition inside of the U.S. and that helps guide some of our decisions when we're talking to all of you about why we own stocks or equities in your portfolio. I mentioned last month talking about the tariffs and the trade wars, so those are still very heavy topics in the news as the U.S. and China still negotiate and debate back and forth on what to apply tariffs to. In the end, you have the government enforcing the tariffs, you have companies basically raising prices to not eat into their profit, and then we have the consumer, you and I. And as we talked about the washing machine example last month, tariffs end up getting passed through to all of us, so we pay higher prices. So eventually that will lead to probably lower spending. And consumer spending, you and I going out and utilizing our dollars in the economy, accounts for about 2/3 of economic growth. So where we spend and how we spend affects more of this economic growth. So eventually that will be a trigger that starts to slow things down. Probably what will end up happening a little bit is the benefit from tax reform will be slightly offset by tariffs if you look out over the next year or two, if we had to guess. And the other thing I wanted to touch on is we kind of have a tale of two markets going on. You have the broad stock market, and then you have what we would look at as maybe the fourth industrial revolution. And what we mean by that is the technology, science, internet, automation, biotechnology, and just technology in general is really where the revolution is happening. In the past week, many of you saw headlines where Apple basically hit a market cap of $1 trillion. That's right, $1 trillion. That's the first company ever to hit that scale. And so that's really where you're starting to see a lot of this technology revolution and companies like that. We still believe here at Richmond Brothers that we are not in the near term for a recession. That would probably still be pushed out in our current assessment out into 2020. And so again, in the near term, we're going to ride through holding equities. Probably as we move into 2019, especially late 2019, that may be a trigger where we want to start getting a little more conservative in your portfolios. Additionally, whenever we have updates for holdings or press releases come out and we have some commentary, just want to remind all of you that in your weekly Richmond Brothers, the Richmond Beat newsletter, there's a section called In Case You Missed It. And if you click on that, it'll give you a link to log into your portal, and in that portal there's several folders and it tells you exactly where it is. A lot of times if we do holdings updates, that would be in a newsworthy items folder inside of your portal, and so we put our commentary and links right in there. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you make note of that. If you need help getting logged in, just email questions@richmondbrothers.com. Lastly, in the month of August, we have two client appreciation events, the Lansing Lugnuts versus the Dragons, Thursday, August 9th and Friday, August 10th. Currently, Friday, August 10th is completely sold out. We do still, at this moment, have some tickets available for the Thursday, August 9th game up at the Lansing Lugnuts. So go ahead and reach out to Kira at richmondbrothers.com if you haven't already signed up and would like to possibly attend with us. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate having the opportunity to serve you. It is an honor and it is a privilege to help all of you manage your life savings. And if you have any questions, as always, for myself, for David, for Dan, just shoot us a note at questions@richmondbrothers.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be back to you in another month.